What's going on, guys? This is Damien for the Lookout and welcome to our Oceania Regionals full breakdown. Guys, this is huge. It took me hours to assemble all of this. I got like all of the deck lists and it took so long to create this breakdown. But if you didn't know, Oceania Regionals just took place and I had the honor of officially casting the event together with my co-host Peter Dance. It was phenomenal, and tomorrow we will be casting the Latin America regionals as well, so make sure to drop by. But before we begin this video, guys, please hit those share buttons, like, subscribe, help us grow. We are on our way to 3,000 subs. If we can hit that soon, that would be amazing. Now roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown, or in this case general info. This was an online best of one pre-side event organized by Tak Games. Huge shout out to Tak Games. The event went very smoothly and they picked us to be the official caster, so this was the first official tournament that the Lookout has ever casted. It was me and Peter Dance. It was amazing. Thank you, Tak Games, for picking us as casters for the event. It was a lot of fun. 80 players in total, 6 rounds. I have 77 deck lists, so a couple of players dropped from what I have seen from the final standings. So let's say 77. 80 registered, but around 76 to 77 players played. First, Oceania BT20 legal event. So this means the BT20 set is here, everyone has it in full, the BT20 ban list is in power, and they have dashback support. So everything is here. Like I said, we were the official casters. You can check out the entire live stream. If you go to the live panel on our channel, you can find it there. It won't be displayed under videos because that's how live streams work. But I will also be uploading individual games on the channel throughout next week. And finally, we need to talk about deck lists. Deck lists are coming out later next week. I have all of the deck lists here. It's gonna take time to even start importing top 16 because they're all in Word file or in images, and I'm super tired and I have Latin America to do as well. Plus, there are gonna be Oceania channels which also want to cover deck profiles from their players, so it's just fair to also let them do their content as well before we do the big deck list dump on the channel. So guys, just a bit of patience. I'm thinking like Wednesday or Thursday we're gonna start rolling out the deck lists for this event. So yeah, let's go and check out the breakdown. Let's start with the top 16. So this top 16 is a lot different from what we saw in Europe. First of all, congratulations to all players who made it into top 16. And guys, yeah, this is quite different because look at this, we're seeing a lot more yellow. We're seeing black here as well. And red isn't as represented, and blue is barely represented when we're talking about like color representation. No green, of course, who cares? So first place won by Benny with red scene. He went undefeated. We have the finals game in the live stream. We're gonna be uploading it, so you can check out some of these top table games because we only streamed top table. So Benny, congratulations. He played Sin so masterfully in that last game. It was a Sin mirror match and he had the upper hand for the majority of the game, and it was just crazy. Then second place, my favorite deck, Golden Frieza taking second place. We also have Red Sin versus Golden Frieza too. Golden Frieza played so well. It was a constant back and forward. And guys, once again, like I've been saying, Golden Frieza, the best yellow leader, now taking second place at another regionals. Golden Frieza is really establishing himself as the best yellow leader at the moment. Despite not having a Z leader, despite not having access to in-archetype Z battle cards, Golden Frieza just keeps showing that untapping 2 is super strong when you're playing yellow. He's like Soul Striker with no drawbacks. So yeah, no wonder Golden Frieza is so amazing. Third place, Supreme Kai of Time. Yeah, we actually had Supreme Kai of Time in this top cut. We actually had two of them. So Supreme Kai actually did a very good showing in Oceania region. That's surprising because I was expecting Cumber. I knew that the players had all of their BT20 decks ready, so I didn't expect Supreme Kai, but you will see something interesting when we go to the breakdown of all decks, which is gonna be after the top 16. Fourth place, Hechiak. We're gonna have the Hechiak deck profile out next week. Hechiak taking fourth place. When was the last time that you saw Hatch? Like, wow, like this was super interesting to see. Hatch breaking in not only into top 16, breaking into the top 4. That's major props. Fifth place, Trunks Jita as the most dominant yellow deck in the top 16. So we have Trunks Jita at the 5th place, and then we have Trunks Jita at 13th and 14th place, wrapping it up to 3 deck slots in top 16 going to Trunks Jita. 6th place, Red Sin again, then 7th place, Supreme Kai of Time, 8th place, Babidi AOD Babidi in 8th place. That's very interesting to see. Like, I cannot wait to actually import this deck list so that I can see everything as images, because I'm super excited to see like what did this deck do actually. So Babidi, congratulations. 9th place, Gogeta GT. Only a single Gogeta GT made it into the top 16. Granted, Gogeta wasn't a very represented deck at the event, but only one made it into the top 16. So that's interesting to see. And then 10th place, Android 17 Invoker. Yeah, this is the deck that not everyone is sure of. Even I'm not completely sure of at the moment. You guys know that we are still to do some of the how to play guides, and Invoker is one of them, and I'm still completely lost on this deck. So yeah, but 10th place, major congratulations. Then 11th place, Janemba Mill. We also have Janemba Mill on the stream. It's one of the craziest games that I've seen in a long time. Janemba Mill breaking into top 16 is the only blue leader in the top 16. That's very interesting. Major props to Janemba Mill. With all of these decks drawing so much, with Sin drawing like crazy, Gogeta drawing like crazy, even Frieza drawing like a madman, Janemba Mill can really take advantage of opponents having low deck sizes and then just slap them with Oceanias, slap them with its own mill effects. If Janemba can survive long enough, and we have seen Janemba really pulling the weight in this tournament, then this happens basically. It gets into top 16. 12th place, starter Majin Vegeta. Only one starter Majin Vegeta, which is very significant for what's to come next. This deck is very good. Like, we had 2 games with starter Majin Vegeta here on the live stream, and the deck is very scary, guys. The deck is super powerful. It's definitely a contender for tier 1. I would say like tier 1.5. I'm still not completely sold on it. I still think that Trunks Jita and Golden Frieza are better, but Majin Vegeta at the 12th place, major congratulations. And then 13th place was Trunks Jita, then Trunks Jita again, then another Red Sin, and then finally 16th place, Apeku. The how some people call him Yellow Kitku, I call him Apeku. So yeah, the starter Goku deck. This one is good. This one is actually pretty good. I'm surprised that it's not doing better, but we always see at least one of them in the top 16, which is always refreshing to see, because the leader's ability to just switch everything to rest mode is very scary at the moment. I'm just not sold on the idea that, you know, it probably can't keep up with all of the aggression that's being dished out at the moment, which is why we don't see more of them. But like I've said, one April in top 16, very cool to see. Now let's look at the entire breakdown. Here is the breakdown of all leaders. So 77 decks. Guys, this is super interesting to see, because you would imagine Red Sin or Gogeta being in high numbers, but no. Oceania players said not today, and Red isn't as dominant. We have 7 copies of Red Sin, then 7 copies of Trunks Vegeta, 7 Androids 21, and 7 Majin Vegetas. Wow! Like, we have 3 colors as the highest represented when it comes to leaders here. I mean, to the same copies of leaders, with Sin being the only red one. As you can see, there's only like 3 Gogetas here, 7 Sins, and then Oceania looks to go very deep with yellow. They look to favor yellow a lot, because we are seeing 7 Trunks Vegetas and 7 Majin Vegetas. So players are really putting a lot of trust in Majin Vegeta, and one of them actually managed to break through into the top 16, and several Trunks Vegetas made it, painting this image that yellow is currently doing a lot better than red at the moment, despite us seeing a somewhat different image with the European regionals, but it can also be regional preferences. As some content creators are saying, from what I'm hearing, that for example NA is a lot more blue than Europe is, and it looks like Australia is a lot more yellow than we are. 7 copies of Android 21, not a single one in top 16. Not a single one. This deck is severely overrated, guys. This deck is really overrated. Yeah, it's basically, sometimes it's an auto loss if you are playing a slower blue deck, but other than that, this deck is struggling to keep up with anything. And it was this big huge boogeyman. So not doing so well for Android 21. And then we're moving to Black. Black had only 2 leaders, and 2 leaders in high representation, and those are both Supreme Kai and Cumber, as 5 of each, and no Cumbers made it into the top 16, but several Supreme Kais did. So does this mean that Supreme Kai is better than Cumber? I disagree with that idea. I think that Cumber is stronger, but I think that Cumber is much more difficult to play. Cumber really requires very, very careful sequencing. Guys, go and check out a video that Michael and Big O Notation did on Big O Notation's channel, where Michael and him go over the entire philosophy and strategy behind playing Cumber, and then you'll see just like how much effort do you actually need to put in to understand this deck completely and play it masterfully. 4 copies of Gamma, so blue isn't really represented here highly at all, with only 4 copies of Gamma, which is, probably the best blue deck at the moment. Then 3 copies of Gogeta, and now we have 2 copies. 2 copies of Stall Striker, 2 copies of Yellow Baby. Yeah, Yellow Baby, I've heard that it's quite popular in Oceania. 2 copies of Android 18, I love this deck. Then Beerus, Apeku, Bardock Screw, Green Cooler, and Golden Frieza. So there is some blue here, but not that much. When it comes to leaders which had only 1 deck, it's Bobby the AOD, E17 Invoker, Green Gogeta BR, there was a Green Gogeta BR, Cell, Spirit Bomb, that's the Vegeta one from the BT20, Trunks Reboot, Yellow Boo, Knockout Strike Gogeta, hell yes, I have this deck list. It's exactly the same thing that I've been trying to hold like a secret spice, which is super meme. Congrats to the player. SS4 Bardock, Hatch, Set 2 Vegito, Blue Skillless Gohan, and finally I forgot to add 2 copies of Radio 7 Goku. There were also 2 copies of Radio 7 Goku. I forgot when all of this was done already, and I just I could either type it or I would have to edit the entire pie chart and make it again. So I wasn't going to do that. So 2 copies of Radio 7 Goku as well. Now let's check out leader and color diversity. First, let's check out the deck diversity. This is our deck/color diversity pie chart. So we're looking at the total number of decks in each color. It doesn't matter if it's like 5 copies of a single deck. We're just checking the total number. And what we see here is 25 yellow decks in total and 21 blue decks. Yellow and blue completely dwarfing red, completely at this event, with the majority of decks in the top 16 being yellow. But, you know, it's good to put into perspective the amount of yellow versus blue decks. So yellow had only 4 decks more than blue, but yellow took the majority of the top 16. So that's interesting to keep in mind. Then only 14 red decks. Red losing the popularity battle in Oceania region. Black coming closely behind red with 13 decks this time around, because black has 2 very solid options now between Cumber and Supreme Kai. When it comes to red, it could also be that it's either not super popular in the region or players are just sick and tired of playing the same 2 decks for like over half a year now. And finally, green is a joke. Green is a complete joke. Green is garbage. Green had only 4 decks. Among 77, only 4 decks. Now guys, at this point you can't even go to the comments and tell me, hey, you know, players, they're not sure should they take green or something. We have seen a single copies of various decks, and you know, there are some questionable choices, like Knockout Strike Gogeta. I know that's a meme deck, I love it so much. I love that very specific build so much that you just can't come and tell me like, hey, you know, players just don't want to give it a shot and stuff. Players don't want to give it a shot because it's bad. It's terrible. Like, only 4 copies. So, yeah, this is the deck diversity chart. Let's jump into the color chart. Finally, let's take a look at the leader diversity chart. So, leader/color diversity pie chart. We are only looking at the diversity among leaders in each color, not the total number of decks in each color. So 9 yellow leaders, 9 blue leaders, yellow and blue being equally represented when it comes to leader diversity. Then basically the same what we saw between red and black, with red having only 1 number higher than black. Or was it? I think it was something like that. I'm sorry, my short-term memory is awful. So 5 red decks, 5 red leaders, 4 black leaders, and then finally we're going to look at green with only 3. Yeah, only 3, and there were only 4 green decks. And the only one that was repeating was Cooler. The last 2 were Cell and Gogeta BR. So green might not exist at this point. Yellow and blue showing a very strong representation in the region. Black on the rise, while red is a bit on a losing edge. Because yeah, even though there is a slightly higher diversity in leaders among red, you know, black is very, very close to it. But you cannot really expect a lot of diversity in these 2 colors, because red basically has Sin and Gogeta. There was U7, there was Vegito, which I counted as red, and the last one was Invoker. And black was Hedgehog, Supreme Kai, Cumber, and I've counted SS4 Prismatic Bardock as black as well. So there's not a lot of choices here. Yeah. But blue and yellow, you can immediately see a whole bunch of choices between these. Anyway, let's not ramble. This is the leader diversity chart. Let's jump into the summary. Before we end the video, let's quickly jump into the summary. Oceania Regionals shows a very different image of the current meta. It's very, very different from what we have seen in Europe. Yellow and black did very well in the top 16, with yellow being the most represented color by far. Like, yellow really came in swinging at these regionals. Yellow really did very good. Barely any Gogeta GTs, barely any, like 3 Gogetas in just a couple of Syndax, like 7 Syndax, and that's it. Everything else is just everything else, basically. Red really did poorly at the event, despite seeing winning when it comes to numbers of red leaders and numbers of red decks. Red did very poorly at the event. Blue came out in high numbers, though mostly with Android 21, 7 copies of Android 21, not a single one breaking into the top 16. And finally, green is a dead color at this point. It might as well not exist. I can tell you that the upcoming green decks are going to be awful as well, because it's gonna be Cell, and it's just gonna do the same thing all over again. So yeah, there's that. And finally, before I leave, congrats to everyone. It was an awesome event. It was really an awesome event, and I cannot wait to cast more Oceania regionals. Your community is amazing, and I would stream your events like 1,000 times over. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the meta? This looks much cooler than what we saw at the European regionals. Guys, you know I love my European players, but this is much better to see, if you ask me. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this meta? What do you think of this breakdown? Is it unexpected? Did you expect to see yellow coming in so strong? Or did you think it's just gonna be like BT18 all over again? I cannot wait to read your comments. Go check out the live stream, plus we will have games on, and tomorrow we are streaming at 4 o'clock in the afternoon CET time. We are live streaming the Latin America regionals. I'm going to have the live stream schedule going up like an hour before the actual event, so that you get to see it on time, and I hope to see a lot of you there. Like, we peaked at 168 viewers, 120 on average. So guys, you really came in numbers, and I really hope to see as many of you tomorrow, because that's gonna be just awesome, and I cannot wait to cast Latin America. Now I'm addicted to casting. Please help me, and you can help me by hitting those like and subscribe buttons, sharing the video, and helping us grow. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.